Cody, I saw your website. It's really beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
can't take
Both.
credit for that. We have a team that is, the word that I use to describe them is obsessed. They're constantly
Yeah.
working on that thing, and if you were to tell them what you just said, they would say they hate it. So I'm glad to hear that people do enjoy it because they're
I
always
feel
moving
like
on to the next thing.
I feel like that's how it typically goes though. When you're like inside the project working on it, you see all the like nitpicky things, but when on the outside looking in, it's like it's beautiful. It's great. It looks
Hmm.
amazing. But yeah, anyways. All right. Well, awesome guys. I think we are live. So I appreciate everyone being here with us today. We're super stoked to be jumping into our series 2 on the Retention Revolution series. And today we're more specifically going to be talking about the future of retention marketing. So just real quick, I'll have you guys kind of introduce yourselves, and then we'll get going with the rest of the questions and dive right into it. But Cody, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, more than happy to. My name is Cody DeJardin. I live in the Pacific Northwest, Oregon, to be specific. And our brand is called Sackcloth and Ashes. We've been around now for 10 years as of June 1st of this year. We are a blanket company, a one-for-one blanket to be specific. We took the model that Tom Shoes obviously pioneered and wanted to localize it. So for every blanket that somebody purchases, we donate one to that customer's local homeless shelter. So it's based on zip codes. If you buy a blanket in Salt Lake City, one's going to a shelter in Salt Lake City, one in Portland, Oregon, one's going to a shelter closest to you. Currently connected to 800 shelters across the country and have been done a lot. Obviously, we've launched the brand on Shopify. It's a D2C company, but do a lot of work in the gifting space with companies that want to give gifts to their employees, customers, clients, things like that. So yeah, excited to chat today more about retention marketing, and hopefully I know these two will add a lot of nuggets in here, but hopefully I can add one or two as well.
Awesome. Appreciate the intro, man. You'll definitely have some nuggets for us. I'm excited to dive into it. Definitely from like, I think your brand and what you guys have done is super unique, and it'll be really good to just hear the insights that you do have, man. So appreciate you being here. Toby, you want to go next?
Of course. So yeah, name's Tobi Chapman. I'm in the south of the UK, and I'm the founder of Everboost, a retention marketing agency for D2C brands. So really, we're overseeing the entire retention stack, all the way from email, SMS, loyalty, subscriptions, and our whole, I guess, mission is getting those brands, getting their customers to buy quicker, bigger, and more often. So maximizing existing customer revenue and maximizing that revenue as quick as we can.
Amazing. Yeah, excited to dive into it, man. I know we've been in quite a few conversations as well. And so, yeah, really excited to see what you got in store for us today. And Akib, yeah, you wanna finish this off?
Sure. Thanks, Zach. So my name is Aquibur Rahman. I'm founder and CEO of Mail Modo. It's an email marketing software which enables marketers to create interactive emails with forms, quizzes, polls, games, all within the email itself. That reduces the conversion friction for the users to take action and increases the conversion for the marketer. I'm excited to be talking to all of you, and I'm here to learn as well.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it. So super cool. I think honestly, the main takeaway that I want everyone to get from today's webinar is the future of retention marketing, what's in store for us moving forward, and how we can leverage technologies to be able to optimize purchase flows and emails from a customer standpoint. And so I think just to kick things off, Toby, let's kick it off to you, man. What would you say are 3 of the most effective retention strategies that you're currently implementing for some of your e-com clients?
Yeah, it's a great question. So the first one that comes to mind is really leveraging your pop-ups more than what most brands do. So most brands, when you think of pop-up, collect the email, send them to your inbox, get the discount, leave it there. But it's a massive point to start collecting more data. So collecting questions around buying motivations, preferences, interests, anything that gives you more context on that individual customer. Now, with that data, you can then implement it into both email flows, email campaigns, and create truly personalized content. So none of that like first name stuff and claiming that's personalized, actually showing content relevant to that person. Now, with that data itself, whilst it helps with email, you can also feed it to your paid media team, because you can start to identify who of your highest value customers what sort of traits, what personalities do they share in common, and obviously start bringing in these high value customers from the get-go. So that's the first one. Second one, I'd say, is with flows like replenishment flows, win-back flows, anything based on sort of a time period, actually looking at, median purchase time, diving into tools like Lifetimely, and understanding true purchase behavior. So again, a lot of brands will, let's take, for example, a supplement brand. Ideally, in a perfect world, someone would use their supplements every 30 days. So it makes sense to trigger a replenishment flow on day 27. It just never usually happens. So we want to look at, again, average time between orders. So first and second and third, and create multiple flows with different triggers to, again, send timely, relevant content. And I'd say the third point, which might seem small, but is becoming more prevalent with changes in the industry, is either expanding to SMS or really fleshing out the SMS program of brands. So again, February, Gmail and Yahoo, a lot of changes around deliverability. And what we're seeing is, some brands, their deliverability is just absolutely tanking. So having SMS as an additional channel that gets, nearly as much, or if not as much, attention as email is just a great way to, add another touch point and stay in touch with that audience and really maximize revenue from them.
Amazing. And I'm just curious, I think backing off what Toby said about these different strategies, what have you specifically seen within just like email marketing automations from like the brand perspective, and how those have changed in the like more recent years?
Yeah, so I would agree with a lot of things that Toby said, especially for the email front. I would say that there are three main things that comes to my mind when I think about how email marketing has been changing. Number one is the deep personalization, or ability to personalize beyond just the first name. So personalizing on the basis of what customers have purchased, or what customers have seen on your website, has been tremendous help for a lot of brands, because now they not only know what people want, but they can serve them what they want, and they can personalize their whole experience, and not just telling them, hey, buy, we have 50% discount, right? The second thing that I believe is what is happening now is being more relevant for the user. So like Toby mentioned about the Google and Yahoo policies, the whole goal of these policies is that a lot of brands who just send random emails just to promote their sales, they stop that, and they focus more on making the emails relevant for their users. And deep personalization is of course one thing, but beyond that, making sure that they understand what the customers want, and they provide what they're looking for. And the third is the ability to make emails interactive. So now brands can make emails interactive by adding forms, games, quizzes, and that makes emails more engaging. And it also provides uh, an opportunity to market or a business to know what customers want. So they can add a form, they can add a survey, or let's say if the user has dropped in during the purchase funnel, they can ask what went wrong, and accordingly they can improve the product or the service as well. So I think that these three things are helping marketers leverage email marketing more and more in recent times.
Yeah, no, it's super interesting. I just feel like the new technologies and ways that you're able to interact with your customers makes things so much more relevant and engaging, honestly. Like I know with your guys' platform and what you do with the interactive emails, being able to like have that experience within the email itself is game changing. But I'm actually super curious. So for you, Cody, from the brand perspective, what are a couple different ways or tactics that you feel like have been most impactful while building like your long-term customer loyalty?
Yeah, definitely. Well, first and foremost, what you two have both already said, I've been taking notes. I'm not the person to give advice when it comes to these types of things, but utilizing the platforms that you have is definitely something that we're engaged with. And like I said, don't do well, but we'll continue to grow in that. So I think if anyone is listening, know that you need to take baby steps to some extent. It's overwhelming, but there's a lot and so much that you can do with these different types of platforms and softwares. So as a brand, we kind of stumbled into, I have 3 points. We stumbled into the first one, ironically, with the product that we have. And the main thing for us when it comes to retention is a giftable product, right? A blanket, in my opinion, is one of the most universal products. You can give it to anyone for anything. So how do we create and deliver a product that people are going to want to have more of, but then also gift it to other people? Everyone has 5, 6 blankets in their home and they can give it to anyone for any occasion. So how do we create something around that? So obviously the blanket itself is giftable. Nonetheless, it's a very universal product, but we've set up things like a greeting card program, custom wrapping around the holiday season that people can opt into to have this beautiful hand done packaging written for it. Custom handwritten notes. I say handwritten, it's not the Amazon type, typed out thing, but it is a robot handwriter that does these types of notes for them. Number 2, which honestly does go alongside the giftable experience itself, is the whole unboxing experience that you have when you actually get the box. When somebody receives it, on the front of our box, we have a pretty strong slogan. It just says, make a local impact. And that's what we're all about. We want to encourage the end customer to make a difference down the street. It's great, obviously, to do things international, send things far away. But if you can make a difference in your backyard on a local level, I truly believe that's how you can change the world as a whole. So when you open the box, it gives 3 ways that you can make a local impact. And I won't spoil it. You can find that out yourself. But my favorite thing about the packaging that we've done since the very beginning is once you take the blanket out of the box, you open it up and it has a list of items that are in most need by shelters. And it says, take it a step further, fill the box with these items and donate to someone in need or to a shelter near you. And so having that full kind of holistic experience, I believe, when somebody gets a blanket from us, encourages them to, again, buy more for themselves or to give one to someone they know as a gift. So not your traditional way of doing it, but for us, like I said, we've stumbled into it and it's worked well for us. And then third is kind of like, I'd say 2.5, 3 is collaborations for us. We're very, very big when it comes to storytelling and the narrative behind the products that we put out there. So collaborations that we do helps us, obviously tap into different segments or demographics that we might not typically be in with our current brand. It allows us to try different markets. So an example being a Star Wars market, very different for us. We originally worked with National Geographic, which is very on brand for who we are, but then stepping into Star Wars, there were some reservations around that of, obviously one of the most iconic heritage brands in the world, galaxy, as I should say. And we were afraid to step into that, but it worked out because their fan base is so large, right? But for every Star Wars fan in the world, there's also a Star Wars hater. So you have to kind of balance what is the best move when it comes to that. And then same thing with collaborations. The other con I would say is, if you've done them before, it's very financially driven. It's a lot of money. And so we've weighed a lot of our decisions when it comes to retention on 2 things, whether it's relevance play or a revenue play. And with collaborations, more often than not, they're relevance plays. They do turn into revenue plays when people, see the press of something like Star Wars, come to our website, see the 90 other styles that would fit in their home or be a great gift for other people.
Awesome. I love that, man. I think finding creative ways to be able to come up with these collabs, not only for acquisition to go and find new clients, but then also for retention, to be able to keep clients or customers there and excited about the product and the different products that you're releasing is massive. So no, I love that, but definitely interesting because you have to keep that in mind that there are haters of that as well. So just like making sure, I guess, with the collab that it makes sense and you can tell that important story behind each drop or collaboration you do. Well, super cool. No, I appreciate the insights there. I think this is all super great, and definitely like you're saying, like there's always new things to implement and kind of like own from if you are a brand and you want to like test some different things out. So no, this has all been great. But I'm actually curious. So I want to dive a little bit more into how we're able to leverage data and personalization, whether it's through the personalization technologies to just enhance the overall customer experience and improve retention rates. Would love to hear your take on that.
I can share a few examples of where brands have used data and personalization really well. Number one brand that comes to my mind is a leading job tech company. What they do is they look at a lot of applicants' data and see when people start looking for new jobs. And what they do is, and they look for like very deep data, like for example, what kind of industry they are, what kind of function they are doing, how long have they stayed in a particular job, or what is their salary level, etc. And accordingly, they accumulate this data and predict which users of theirs would be looking for new jobs. After that, what they do is they send emails and ask for more information, like whatever they are missing. For example, they ask for, hey, how long will it be for you to start for new job search, etc. And accordingly they personalize the job feed for these people, and they even send it inside the email and let people apply for the jobs. So I feel that how they have been using data to personalize as well as encourage people to apply for new jobs is very commendable. The other example would be of a media company. What they realize that most people open emails very late, and they generally send a lot of recent latest news inside the newsletter. So what they did was uh, they created a dynamic feed inside the email with Mailmodo, and as whenever you open the email, let's say you open the email after 24 hours, you get the most recent news item visible on the top, and that increased their click rates by about 3x. So that was a very like a tremendous use of data and personalization to increase engagement over email.
Super interesting. I love that. And yeah, there's definitely other use cases outside of ecom, whether it's for job searches or whatever else. Like there's ways that we can personalize and go
Yeah,
about email marketing in different
this
ways.
the same technologies can be used in e-commerce as well. Like at the end, all of these different use cases are from a brand to their consumers. So the same technology, the same use cases can be used by e-commerce companies as well.
Yeah, 100%. And for yourself, Toby, how do you feel like you've been able to leverage some of the customer data to create more of these personalized and engaging marketing campaigns? I know you touched on it before, but I guess just like a little bit more in depth on how you've been able to accomplish that.
Yeah, of course. So I think a common misconception around email is everything that you do with email only affects email. But all of the data that you're collecting with that channel ultimately feeds the performance of every other channel. So email, outside of driving revenue, is an excellent qualitative research tool. So if someone doesn't convert in, say, your abandoned and checkout flow or a welcome flow, we want to actually dig in to understand why. Is it that maybe they have concerns about shipping? They don't understand how the product works. Maybe it's just the pricing. The more data that we can collect, and obviously, this is without someone placing an order, the better you can refine the entire funnel from paid media all the way down to email. So, that's multiple different marketing campaigns you can affect there. Secondly, I'd say with post-purchase communications, again, a lot of brands think that customers know how to use the product. They know what benefits to expect, how long it should take to start seeing these benefits. So again, going back to an example of a supplement, it's very easy. Say a certain supplement takes 1 month to see a certain benefit, 2 months to see the other, and 3 months to see the next. You want to be communicating this in your post-purchase, emails, SMS, whatever it is. So actually looking at buying behavior, how many orders they've placed, and timing communications with that. And then finally, again, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but zero-party data is still a huge gap in a lot of brand strategy. So again, going back to buying motivations, so understanding maybe customer pain points or interests, buying interest, so are they interested in a certain category of product or certain style? And then again, leveraging this in your emails. So for example, a teeth whitening brand that we've worked with, we were seeing a lot of people either said they had stained teeth or their main concern was the bad breath that came associated with that. So in the emails, we then wanted to change the copy and the testimonials that we were showing. Some people would talk about how their breath was much better. People were complimenting them on their white teeth. And ultimately, when you do that, the email is going to resonate. And when it resonates, you increase the conversion. So I'd say 3 things are, I've lost my train of thought now. Collecting zero-party data, actually tailoring your post-purchase emails to their life cycle stage. And then the first point that I mentioned, again, completely gone my head, but you get the picture.
Yeah. Well, I was actually curious. I was going to ask, how do you typically, like, what tools or what avenues are you using to be able to collect this third-party data to be able to use in other campaigns down the road? Like, is there any tech or technologies that you're using?
So I think the highest leverage point for most brands will be the pop-up forms, because that's where most people, it's pre-intent data. If you can collect that before they've even placed a purchase, you immediately get more context. But also, with Toki, I know that they're big on zero-party data there. So any sort of general quiz page, or even like within emails themselves, those are really the 3 key areas to collect that data.
Okay, super cool, man. Yeah, because I feel like, I don't know, at least from the like customer perspective of things, when you go to the site and you see like whether it's a quiz or just like a simple pop-up, to put in that information, like, I don't know, you want to have the least amount of friction as possible to be able to collect that data and then be able to like remarket and use that to your advantage from the brand perspective. So
yeah, it's a great point. I think we get a lot of pushback sometimes from brands saying like, it's going to affect our sign-up rates and what have you, but you might see a tiny drop off in sign-up rates. But if you get a big spike in conversions from those people, it's the trade-off is well worth it.
Gotcha. Super cool. And Cody, I want to hear about yourself. How have you guys kind of done this? Is there any tools or technologies that you've used to be able to utilize or gather and utilize customer data to personalize the shopping
definitely.
experience?
Well, there's the obvious things of like gathering their data to understand what types of collections they're going to like. Are there certain collaborations to be more drawn to, things like that. But the most simple way that we're gathering information and obvious, and I'll explain why that's worked for us, is just through Shopify. Like I said, we're a local based company, right? And so all we really need is a zip code from somebody to know the organizations in their community that they can potentially get involved with. So much of what we do is in terms of like the drip campaign, the journey that they would go on as a customer, whether they're receiving it as a gift or not, is, they'll get their standard shipment email and all that, and it will tell them where that blanket will be going. At least as of now, it's about 3 shelters in their local area. And then 6 months later, they're getting an email that says, hey, reminder, look at the work that you did, and prompting them yet again to get involved in that community. We're a for-profit company, Sackcloth and Ashes. About 5 years ago, we launched a foundation called Love Your City. It's a platform for people to get involved in their city. If you go on to loveyourcity.org, you type in your city or zip code, and it'll show you all the organizations and ways to get involved, financially or volunteer, whatever you may be. So we allow people to take it that step further. I keep using it. It's like what we have in our box, but taking it a step further to actually get involved, because that's one of the biggest things for us is engaging community. I think that word is thrown out there so often, like look at the community you have, and what they really mean is look at our Instagram platform and the comments that are flowing in. But how do we actually get a community informed, one, on the solutions in their backyard, as well as educate them on how they can get involved? Because we found so many people want to, they just don't know how to or where to start. So that's the biggest way that we're doing it.
That's incredible. I feel like community definitely is a buzzword more or less nowadays. Like everyone talks about it. Everyone's trying to figure out ways to be able to get their community more engaged with the brand themselves and finding unique ways like you've done to be able to build the community itself. So I think obviously you guys have gone out and you've built this and implemented it for like a new brand who maybe like, you guys are obviously very uniquely positioned in the sense that it is a giftable product and you have this very just like organic way to go about building this community. I guess just like with your insights and what you've seen work best, I'm curious to hear, let's say, a brand in another industry or another like vertical, what are the differentiating factors for the community that you've seen that have worked really well in growing that customer community base?
Yeah, definitely. I think this is to answer that question in terms of just building community. My first response wants to be get people in person. I know there's so many challenges. You got people all across the world. That's hard to do. Again, we're set up on a local model, so if we have a group of people in Oregon, it's easy to do that. If we have one in the UK, it's easy to set that up for them there. So doing that on a a global level is hard, but I think people want to be back in person. We've seen that, obviously. I know we're far enough removed from things like COVID, but we've grown into this kind of like globalization of community and conversation, which is not bad in its fullest extent. There's obviously pros and cons of it, but I think getting people back together in their communities, talking about solutions in their area or just common interests that they have is good, and that could be centered around your brand. If it's a lifestyle brand, a supplements brand, any of that kind of stuff. There's some Tobi, you keep mentioning supplements, things like that. I'm sure they're very similar in the types of interests that they may have, whether it's working out or what have you. Bringing people together in that form of community, I think, can go a lot further in that experience that they'd have in person.
Super interesting. I top of mind for me, at least, on how a brand has been able to go and accomplish this was Poppy with why am I spacing it right now, with Alex Cooper and Coachella. They had like that massive house where they had like all the different influencers and stuff come, and it was like an in-person activation, kind of more or less like that. Have you, I guess it's a little bit different, but have you ever tried utilizing or like using, I guess, influencers in that sense to bring community together?
On our end, I'm gonna use the word artist or designer just because that's who we're working with in most of these situations. So with collaborations, some of the ones you've seen recently, but what you will see in everything moving forward is for collaborations, we want to bring an artist, a designer, a celebrity that has an artistic view to them to help co-design that blanket to tell their story. Obviously, the marketing side behind their reach is a part of that as well too, but their story is impactful. And then bringing them into an event where we can invite community has always been something that we want to do. We haven't done, what you mentioned with Poppy. Like, obviously, that's a great example of bringing people together. Brand awareness is just a fun thing to be at. Mm-hmm. For us, we've done a few of those, but they haven't had the same impact as us saying, hey, we're going to this homeless shelter or this organization, inviting people into that community to come serve with us. And then after, we always have some sort of dinner or happy hour, whatever you want to call it, and have a panel discussion or conversation around local impact and getting involved in their community. And, we've done these all across the country, and we don't live in all these places in the country. And so for us to be able to step back and help provide some sort of resources with them to be able to continue those conversations, continue that impact without us being a part of it, we feel like we've gotten the job done if we can do that.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. And I think it goes back to your guys' purpose. Like, you guys have an actual purpose. It's not just like activating the community. It's like actually getting these people involved in the communities around them to be able to go and better serve just like down the road, which is amazing. And I love the purpose behind your guys' community that you have built. Whereas, with Poppy, for example, it's more just like a cool experience, bring people together, which are both super valuable, but both have different, like, there's a different purpose and intent behind both of those communities that are being built. So I think, whether it's a brand like you've built yourself, where it's very service-based and just like community-based, or if it's like a supplement brand where maybe you're doing, I know run clubs have been huge. I've been seeing run clubs jump up everywhere, and like bringing communities together in that sense. I think having a purpose behind that, when you do bring the community and people together, it'll take you that much further from a brand perspective, which is great. So no, I love to see that you guys have been able to accomplish this, not only like locally where you guys are, but across across the states and then globally as well, which is awesome. So super cool. And okay, cool. Well, I want to jump into a little bit more on like future trends and innovations. And so Akib, I'd actually love to hear what other emerging technologies or trends are you seeing that could potentially shape the future of retention marketing and e-commerce?
So AI is definitely changing a lot of things, and how not only how people do things or create content, but also what to communicate to users, and how it helps the user connect with the brand as well, right? So I feel that with AI, the content creation as well as the personalization is going to change a lot. So when people are sending email, SMS, or even showing pop-ups, etc., AI is going to help them personalize the content most probably very relevant to the individual person. Today it is happening on a segment level or a list level, which is very broad, but I believe that with AI you will most brands will be able to personalize according to the individual person, and that is going to change and as well as result really well in terms of the increase retention and engagement. So I feel that's going to be the major shift in this decade.
Super interesting. Yeah, I know AI is another one of those buzzwords that I feel like I hear everywhere. But I feel
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's really being able to like utilize it in the best way possible for your brand or your business that you're running. So yeah, no, I definitely agree that AI will be game changing moving forward. And Toby, maybe you have some more experience on like how you guys have been able to leverage AI within the agency.
Yeah, so I think, like you said, AI is very much a buzzword right now. A lot of tools are popping up that don't necessarily drive incremental revenue or make a huge change. In terms of AI within the agency, the biggest use case for us is tools that have AI to analyze data. So that, that's going to do a lot of the heavy lifting. So when it comes to actually looking at customer cohorts, lifetime value, these sort of things, rather than AI to create an email. I don't think it's there right yet in terms of AI email creation. I think it will be there when that happens. I don't know, maybe the next year or two. But for us, it's really using AI to do the tasks that otherwise would take a long time, a lot of mental strain, to really speed up our workflows.
Gotcha. Is there any other technologies that you see like kind of shaping the future?
I think I'd reinforce what Aki said around the AI pop-ups. I think it's a great use case. And again, the sort of trend with e-commerce is pop-ups have always been these one and done sort of things. You get the email and then you stop there. But if you can continue to use these pop-ups, not just on people that have never purchased before, but customers coming back, I'd see that as one of the better use cases.
Yeah, I love that. And Cody, for yourself, is there any technologies or things that you kind of have seen that you could see like shaping the future of how you guys do business?
Well, there's definitely a lot that are shaping the future of business in general. As of now, for us, we haven't really looked at specifics. We keep talking about AI. There's not specific things that we're looking after. I feel like we've done an okay job of utilizing the technology or social platforms around us to get through our core values and our messaging and our overall desire to make a local impact in communities. So I would say we're pretty just flexible, malleable, whatever you want to call it, when it comes to working with new technologies, but we're excited for things that are out there to help us bring community together quicker, better, more effective, right? I talked a lot about globalization versus localism, and for us, we're going to have a pretty hard stance on working with technology that will allow us to get people together on a local level. If that makes sense or answers the question, but
Yeah, 100%. No, I love that. I think as new technologies emerge, it's like always good to stay up with trends and what's happening, just like in the industry in general. But like, yeah, it's definitely finding what works best for your customers and utilizing it in a way that makes sense. So, no, that's awesome. All right, so I want to get like kind of quite last question before we wrap this up and dive into Q&A. I want to get like, if your brand just starting from ground zero, for you, Toby, like what are some of the most important things that you can set up or best practices that you would recommend implementing for like a loyalty program?
I'd say before you even start like creating anything, know who your brand is, who you sell to, what you sell, because it's very easy to create almost like a cookie cutter loyalty program that ultimately isn't going to resonate with your audience. So a big part of actually understanding what's going to work is, whilst it requires a bit of work, is actually doing your research, asking your audience what they want to see. because you may put something out that is completely irrelevant to your audience. Secondly, I'd say actually define a key KPI from your loyalty program. Some brands, it might be they want to increase subscription signups and potentially the length that people stay on the subscriptions. Other brands, it may just be they want to increase brand awareness, increase their social followings. So you have a clear KPI that you want to achieve from the loyalty program. And then finally, gamify the program. Have something in there that encourages customers to come back, because I don't think brands really have anything in place. Whilst they, you can collect points, it's not very clear that okay, I'm X points away from this, or I'm one purchase away from unlocking a free gift. Which, if I chuck in a bonus point, not enough brands make enough noise about their loyalty program. They put it in place. It's maybe a little widget on the website, but they leave it there. They don't have any email communication, SMS, organic content around it. So make as much noise as you can about the loyalty program in terms of promoting it, but also reminding customers that they're a part of it, and this is what they can expect in the coming months if they continue to buy.
Yeah, I think gamification, like I love that term, because I feel like if you can really get customers to buy in to the loyalty program and what you're doing from that perspective, they're going to be coming back because they enjoy the experience itself. So if you can create that experience, whether it's through emails, SMS, or even like something within the site itself, having that gamification, I think, is a huge unlock for brands when you're able to do it correctly. So no, I love that. And Akib, I would love to hear from your perspective as well, just like starting a loyalty program from the e-commerce side of things. Like, what are some of the most basic things or things you think that are super important when launching?
Yeah, so I feel that most of the brands just do a cookie cutter approach of giving discounts in the name of loyalty program. I think that is too old a tactic that every brand is doing now. I feel the best brands are trying to create a sense of belongingness to the brand, and they may not even call it a loyalty program, but they make most loyal customers. So whether you take Apple products or even Airbnb, they kind of create a belongingness among their customers, and they keep coming back to the product itself without having a loyalty program at all. uh, if I talk about uh, the sense of belongingness further, there are certain approach. Like, one is definitely creating a community around it. Second is b- giving a sense of privilege, which Apple or Tesla provides. The third is making one customer bring more customers as well. So for example, in China, Pinduoduo does it really well, that they make group purchase possible, and people keep coming back because now they are part of the community that they can't go back. And I feel that e-commerce companies have a lot to learn from these brands and implement some of these strategies to create a sense of belongingness and relatedness to for the customers to the brand.
Super interesting. Yeah, no, I love that. I think that's great. And Cody, I know you've shared a lot about what you guys have done to be able to build this community and this amazing brand that you have. Is there any learnings or any things you would have done different looking back?
Oh, yeah, I mean, plenty of things. We spent a lot of our time focusing. I went back to, like I was saying, the relevance versus revenue, right? We spent a lot of our time focusing on relevance, and I think anyone that comes to our website or experiences the brand is like, wow, this is a $500 million brand. But we've done a really good job, like I've said, of building that brand customer base, loyalty, just exposure around. But now we're really honing in on things like revenue to grow it. Like I was saying before the call, of the next 10 years of Sackcloth, what does that look like? And being able to scale it to that number that I mentioned earlier comes with a lot of focus on that, because the relevance is there and there's ways that you can continue to do that, but much less of a cost, I would say.
Right.
I do want to say something though when it comes to just loyalty in general. Toby, you said something about not just creating the standard loyalty program, but really learning from your customers what they actually want. And there's a story for us, that really sparked a lot of that. And it comes into that revenue side versus relevance. We realized on Shopify that our top 15 customers, you can see their emails and their companies, were real estate agents and mortgage agents. And they had spent over $350,000 between the 15 of them over the course of like 4 years. I'm like, wow, this is insane. They're giving them as gifts. So we just started calling our customers. I think that's can be annoying to do, but it is extremely valuable to actually talk, 5-10 minutes with the customers that are providing you with the most business. So we came to find out that the biggest thing for them was obviously the experience that they're having. They had seen the blanket, they knew what it was, but they wanted to customize that packaging. They wanted to put their real estate branch, their mortgage firm on the packaging. They wanted a discount, and they wanted to know where their blankets were being donated. So we set up what I'd call loyalty program, more of just an exclusive club, the cooler word, if you will, called changeagents.com. It's a place where people can go in, sign up with their company email address and their company. They automatically get 25% off, have the ability, like I said, to send a personalized note and customize that packaging. It's a really easy sign up and way for them to get through doing that. So we created that program for them to allow for all individuals to be a part of it, not just a B2B partnership that we have where it's the whole state or the whole region or the whole country, but take Coldwell Banker, for example, and for round numbers, say they have 10,000 agents. If we can bring on even 300 of those agents and allow them to have that custom Coldwell packaging and give that as a gift, it only adds to that experience that we talked about earlier.
That's amazing. How many cold calls, or I guess not really cold calls, I mean, they were customers, but how many calls were you doing a day at the beginning, just kind of get things off and running?
It wasn't crazy, honestly. It was the top 15 customers, so it was easy to have conversations with them, and they, they're like, "Whoa, we've loved the brand for this long. We're happy to share our thoughts." And for us, it was, "You are some of our best customers. We really, really want to know your thoughts." And knowing that they were in that gifting space too, and not just using it for their friends and family or themselves, just provided a lot of insight to help craft what Change Agents is today.
Yeah, no, that's incredible, and I think that's a great example of how you can take that extra step to really be able to figure out, kind of like you mentioned, Toby, what the customer wants and what the brand, like the meaning behind it and what you want to do. So no, I love that. I think that's the great way to be able to really learn about your customers and what they're looking for and how you can improve the product or the process moving forward, which is fantastic. Well, yeah, no, I think just to wrap things up, I really loved everything that's been said today. Tons of nuggets that have been shared. And I think, honestly, at least for myself, like the takeaways today is, I think there's a lot of things that we can be doing from the brand perspective to be able to build community and loyalty and have these more engaging experiences through the technologies that are available to us, but then also doing the things that don't really scale, like talking or calling up some of those best customers to figure out what it is they really want. But yeah, I want to open up the floor for Q&A and just see if we have any questions. All right, let's see. I have a cool. Can you see that, Cody?
Yeah, I can. Do you want me to answer that now?
Cool.
Oh, there, it's on the screen. Perfect.
Yeah.
Brands that we admire, 3 come to mind, all for different reasons. And I would say these are personal rather than the company as a whole. But I'm born and raised in Beaverton, Oregon. Nike headquarters is in my backyard. So I would say Nike. A lot of issues with the company overall, but I've been, born and raised in this area, so I love them. But the thing that I love about them most is they're a story-driven company. I think if you were to ask most people at that company, are they a product company? They'd say, no, we're a marketing company. And so much of what they do is tell stories. And what we want to do with Sackcloth is be a storyteller. Meaningful stories really, really matter. And I think that's what people care about rather than just the product. And obviously a story can sell a product. Secondly would be the brand Kith. You may have heard of them, you may have not, but the reason I like them is I believe they're the absolute best at collaborations. Every Monday they launch a new collaboration or single type of product, but the way that they, as well as Nike, tell stories through product, come together with a brand and pair the best cases and best things of that brand with their own aesthetic and their touch and their design eye together is just unbelievable. Every single time they put out a collaboration, I'm like, they did it again. And they do that 50 plus times a year. So I have no idea how they do that. Third and finally, I would say Patagonia. I think they've done a really good job of focusing very, very heavy on product. Obviously, you've heard their return policies and all that kind of stuff. They just, you can keep a Patagonia jacket forever. They'll fix it for you. Their product is such a key component to what they do. But then furthermore, the impact side that they have, their impact is on the planet, right? So there's a huge focus on the planet, which is all great. Whereas on our end, there's a huge focus on people. So we're trying to take the or the heartbeat, if you will, of Patagonia and apply that to people. Obviously, they care about people as well too, but their focus is on the planet for so much of what they do.
100%. Well, that's great. I'd be curious to kind of hear all your guys' like favorite brand. Tobi, Akib, if you guys want to share.
I think one that comes to mind straight away is Ovi, the collagen brand. They not only community-wise, and their Facebook community is massive, but in terms of always staying ahead, trying new trends, trying new tech, that's the first one that comes to mind. Like Cody said as well, Nike is I think will be on most people's lists because it's just like you said, Cody. Whilst they do have great products, they are very much a story-driven brand, and it sort of leads me on to a point that I like to make is you can have a great product, but ultimately I think you'll struggle to build a community unless there's something there between you as a brand and the customer that resonates with them. Some sort of emotional trigger through storytelling or some sort of commonality that all your customers share. Without that, I think you're going to struggle to build a community. But yeah, those two, Nike and Ovi, are the two that come to mind for me.
Love that. And Akib, do you have any?
Yeah, so again, I would be repeating the same brands that Cody and Toby has been telling because these are the brands that are the most recognizable. I think Nike does a really good job on it. And I can tell some of the Indian brands because I come from India, and so there is a brand called Amul, which is a milk brand basically. But what they do is, if you just search for Amul cartoons, they create really good cartoons on the basis of the recent um, news, and those are very popular. They get like viral. So that's a really interesting take, and I would not expect a milk brand or a butter brand to do that. So that's very interesting.
Yeah, no, that is super interesting. I guess since we have time, I'll share my kind of favorite brands as well. I feel like one brand that's top of mind for me that's been just crushing it with their organic content, and then I think also building just like with influencers in general more recently is BPN and Nick Bear. Like they have been crushing it. And I've just loved like following along their journey, see what they've been doing, and I feel like they've done a lot of those things super well as far as the community based stuff, bringing people together and having more of a mission or like a purpose behind their community that they've built. And then another brand that I like more recently got introduced to and love what they're doing is Bandit Running. They're a Brooklyn-based running company, and they have a pretty unique like membership that you can. That's kind of how I got like intro to them in the first place. But if you go sign up on their membership, they have some like cool different perks where you get added to like their close friends. You get like a $50 gift card, a pair of socks, and then you get all these exclusive discounts to a handful of like other brands across the board that are relevant for like in the running space, so different supplements, etc. So those two, I don't know. I feel like kind of like everyone said, like having this like purpose behind the brand is really important. So whether it's collagen or it's Nike, and like having this deep story that people can get behind, like that's all people want. People want a mission. They want something to be able to like motivate and get behind to like really be bought into the brand.
Another brand that comes to my mind is REI, which is like an e-commerce brand for camping equipments. And it seems that it's very small niche, but what they have done with the content and their membership program, etc., is very commendable. They not only sell these products, but they know their audience really well. They create content for them, they educate their audience, and they kind of building this community around camping and hiking. So that's a amazing job that they're doing as well.
Yeah, I love that. All right, I just have one more question come to mind. And I was just curious, like, is there any out of the box strategies or things you would suggest, or maybe you guys have thought about testing for like your guys' marketing strategies?
In terms of for our companies ourselves or
For
client
the
wise?
brands. Yeah. For the brands, like from a brand perspective, like some out of the box strategies that could potentially work. Maybe you haven't tested them out though. I'd be curious to hear.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think something that it's not massively out of box, but you don't see a lot of brands doing it, is we tried like a post-purchase upsell email, but it was positioned as a plain text email from the warehouse manager, and it was like personalized based on what they purchased. So it'd be like, hey name, I don't know, Zach here. I'm the warehouse manager at company. Just packing up your order now. Great choice with the X. I actually pair it with Y, and it does X, Y, Z. I've given you my own like personal discount here. Use it whilst you can, and I'll chuck it in with this order. And it worked really well.
That's super cool. I haven't seen that before. That's awesome.
I will give you one example of a client of ours. So what they do is very interesting, and this comes from a problem that many e-commerce brands face. That whenever a user purchases the product, they stop opening their emails. Right. So this brand sends a weekly newsletter, and in each newsletter, they send a quiz related to their brand, and they announce the result of the quiz in the next email, as well as they announce a winner for every time. There are three winners, they announce it in the next newsletter. So it makes people open every newsletter. So that's a very interesting strategy that these guys are using.
No, I love that. Especially with your guys' tool and what you're doing, I feel like it makes that experience so much more interactive. And
Yeah,
no,
the
I love
quiz
that.
happens within the email itself, and they can
Yeah,
see the answers, but they announce the winner in the next newsletter, which makes
gotcha.
people curious about, okay, who won the last quiz.
Yeah, 100%. No, that's awesome. I love it. Cody, how about yourself? You got anything up your sleeve?
No, those are great ideas. And Toby, I'd argue that is out of the box. That's a great one. I feel like mine is actually not outside of the box. It's pretty standard, but I've talked a lot about just collaborations as a whole, and the whole revenue versus relevance play. A way to move towards more of the making them both the same, right? Equally important is we're doing these things called curated collections, where we're bringing in an endorser, whether that be a celebrity or macro influencer, and having them select blankets from our site rather than going and designing new ones with the production time and all that. They're just curating 4 to 5 styles on our website, picking an organization they want to give to from a financial standpoint, and having them have it on our website and then promote it through their platforms. Standard, a lot of companies do it, but it's
I love
working for
it.
us.
Yeah, and I think it's telling that story like on a deeper level with these collaborations and things that you're doing that I think people can relate with and get behind. So no, it's great. Well, awesome. No, this has been great, guys. I really appreciate you hopping on. Don't think we have any other questions, and so yeah, I think we'll go ahead and wrap things up. But yeah, have a good rest of your day, and we'll be in touch.
Cheers, guys.
Good. Thanks,
Cool.
everyone.
Thank you.